A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's due. Actually, a Merry Christmas is late and deserves a 50% off, but a Happy New Year's due nonetheless. Now, I'm gonna ask you guys to do something, though you don't have to comply. I want you to pretend that I've reached some milestone, be it 400 or 400,000 subscribers, because this new year, I'm gonna be doing a thanking. I'm going through my closest friends and family and thanking you all individually. If you aren't thanked, I'm very sorry. It's not that you aren't important in my life, it's simply impossible to reach all those that have reached me. I hope you understand. Oh, one last thing. I'm not going to use your guys' names. Of course not. I'm going to give you a pseudonym, and I may or may not text you in person of the name I gave you. For example, Hannah. Like a superhero, you always have brought my spirits up unscathed as if they were a damsel in a burning building. You always know what to say. I've never even reached out to you for therapeutic reasons, just kind of happens. Your humor is undeniably grand. You remind me of so much of my previous section leader and band, for some reason I am unable to convey and understand. The one day you called me funny, I thought it was a joke because every friend I've ever had has never been genuine in their words. It's always sarcasm and euphemisms for garbage. I still think about that day. In fact, it was that day that inspired me to make this. The difference between the you and the I is that my genuity is shy and I have to hide my names. Sometimes I worry about if I laugh too much around you or if I find myself the center of attention more often than you. I want you to act cooler than you think you are someday, because that day you'll see how well your thoughts and your actions just fit together. Mikah. I constantly think and worry about how next year I'm going to college and I won't get to see you every day. It's wild that we became such great friends so quickly. I think you're beyond underrated. I've never had someone that I can relate so much to. My main passions seem to resonate with you in so many circumstances. Without you, my life wouldn't exactly be meaningless, but it also wouldn't exactly have a direction. You've opened my eyes wider than I thought possible with potential in not just our passions, but our futures in said passions. You have silently preached to me that even if the world's against you, then at the very least have the audacity to hold on to what you have, be it a single thought, a friend, a family, either way, hold on. You'd better be here for summer break so we can pursue something more. I look forward to that every day. Kaye. You're someone I'm glad to see every day. You certainly have a passion for what you do, and even if I don't end up following you in what you do, I won't regret a second I've spent or any inkling I've retained from your information you grant me. This past year has been one of my favorites, because suddenly my schedule has changed and you were in a class of mine. I've enjoyed that class very much, and if anybody else would substitute in for you, I don't think I'd be able to say that truthfully anymore. You're the underdog and the devout leader of awesome. Freya. Okay, sometimes I find myself accidentally being rude to you in a simple greeting, and you respond in a believable actress-written script that makes me feel worse than I may have pretended to make you feel, and I find it funny and impressive, but truthfully, you're one of the most joyous people I've been around the influence of. Either you don't let things get to you, or you're very good at hiding it and transforming it into humor. I still remember how you told me to compensate for my microphone breaking in the play. You always have a way to make a drastic situation into a memory to be adored. Joshua. I don't think a single word could ever begin to describe how magnificent you are, how you somehow find interest in anything and everything at all times. You occupy every hour of your day because even an extra second to blink is a second that isn't quite useful enough. I never ask people to hang out, but I'm sure if I asked you, you would decline and say the words, "No, I'm saving the world," and I'd simply nod my head, as if it isn't a joke, because it's not always. Sometimes your version of saving the world is completely psychological. The fact that this world has graced you is saved enough, but you understand that there's a lot more to do than simply exist. Anna. I do not understand you, but let me try to describe you. You're the strike leader in the armada of funny. You're one who I believe looks in the mirror every day at your outfit with an imperturbable smile, knowing that wearing a dress with assorted fruits designed top to bottom, today will not be a boring one. Sometimes I feel that I lie when I say this next sentence, but for you it's how I remember it. When you smile, the room actually seems to be more vibrant, as if with the joy you achieve, I find new ways to find joy too. You've proved to me that to be an adult and to act like an adult are two different things. One is a number, the other is a variable. X does not always equal adult. Even in the most professional business setting, anybody can do an impression of an animal in exchange for a smile. Martha. I've recently thought about how incredibly important you are to me. I've realized without you, I would not try as hard as I could. Everything I do, I believe, always derives from the motif of you will be proud of me or not. I love that when I make something, you always come to see it first in line. I love how I can tell you about my day every day. I love that you've gotten me to the point where every day I can easily tell you a new story about what happened today because it'll never be the same. You're simply the greatest. Frank. Like how a dream removes me from reality, you seem to have your own world. When you talk, you certainly can be inspirational, but I just adore that no matter how real this world is, you seem to paint your own despite the circumstances. I'm so glad you just happened to like music and art, because if you didn't, I probably wouldn't want to think creatively. Just think. Because I was around the influence of you, I just so happened to like being creative, thusly I started making videos. I almost want to blame it on you. Leon. Today, you remind me so much of who I was when I was younger. You try so hard to make everybody happy in every circumstance, no matter how much the detriment to yourself you may cost. If it means a bright beaming smile on someone who doesn't get to do that very often, a year of pain would be worth it to you. You told me yourself, if you could change one thing about the world, you'd take away mirrors, because jollity does not come within judgment of yourself. You believe everybody is created with the same value, and even throughout life you gamble that price away. There still is hope, simply because the blank slate of greeting someone new can simply earn you a jackpot of beauty and a lifetime supply of friendship. Ella. I know you don't like big words, so I'm trying my best here. I admire your perspicacity and tenacity in both observing and obtaining creatures. My credence is someday you'll cavort in your kingdom of animals, the exotic and the flotsam. As you lie recumbent in your field of artistry that is purchasing and adoring animals, I will continually be jealous of your inane thoughts, but not against. Your soul is decorated in Christmas lights in July, your mind the warming sun in December. You've never really cared about time, just timing. Greg. It pains me that you even look down on yourself at all. I think you're a hilarious person. I'm graced with the proximity I have to you in class. I actually tell so many people about you, my parents, my teachers, my friends. It is not out of pity. It is out of the joy you allow me to achieve. I just wish I could have been a little less pissy around you. Our teacher, as you know, stresses me out, and thusly I will put on headphones and really dig in to just crush my project. Looking back on those times, I understand I was more than just a little rude to you, in which more than just an apology is due. Thank you for a wonder-filled half year, and another one to come. Cole. What I said about Greg, the last person, also applies to you, because we share the same class. Sometimes you tell me about the videos I post, and you often were seen watching my videos. I never know how to respond to those things, but coming home while I'm alone, I'm filled with such joy. It's people like you that keep me alive in YouTube. If not just in YouTube, then you absolutely keep my creative process and video making alive. A thank you isn't enough. You're the best. Corey. You're another person I just don't exactly understand. And like the previous person I also don't want to understand, I don't want you to change that. My taste in humor is so limited that I find it difficult to laugh at things I used to find hilarious. Regardless of this, even the mere sight of you could simply make me burst into laughter. I am mentally incapable of thinking about something you've done to anger me. Your mind like a dream, your voice like a color palette, you dip your brush into a tidal wave of humor and make it unique for everybody to enjoy. You're also generous and kind. I remember the day you once called me cool. Maybe I'm sensitive to compliments from people I believe are great, but the moment burned into my mind. I'm more than just glad to have met you. Steven. For the warrior. In spite of recent events, I'm glad to call myself what I am to you. You've always been nothing smaller than a superhero to me. Even as kids, I used to think of how to beat you in a physical fight. I was never successful, of course. Thusly, I rendered you invincible. To this day, I still think this way. In middle school, I always had thought you disliked me. Whether that was true or not, I still remember how you once defended me on Facebook. You may not remember it by how much you've used the media, but I've posted maybe 50 things on it. Therefore, your comments stuck out. It was something about a piano and how it was the best you've ever heard on it. I still hold that as the pinnacle of compliments I've received. You've never given up on pursuing something you believe in. So here's one for the man who could look death in the eye and interrupt his speech before he speaks a syllable. Paul. You're someone I find myself very jealous of. I've tried to replicate some of your humors, unsuccessfully of course. I used to copy exactly what you say over and over until even you would find it no longer funny. I used to think that you were the highest form of entertainment, that even 5 minutes of being in your proximity would grant me nothing shorter than 5 minutes of laughter. You get close to people so easily, and you make friends as if they're simply pennies on the floor, graced to be touched by you. You still see the worth in every penny. You still pick them up. Leo. You are undoubtedly the nicest person I've ever encountered. You could walk through a field of dead grass and turn it into a garden of lovely. I say this because you seem to bring life to the lifeless, voice to the voiceless, sound to the deaf. If it all looks bleak, you act as a bright sun. Wherever it is you go in your life, you will continue to shine as bright, if not brighter than you have been. This year, you told me so many good things have happened to you in quick succession. Let me tell you. In college, in life, as your timeline progresses, this year will seem as okay, rather than anything else. I've never seen someone with such a genuine smile before. Never seen someone that feels that he needs to reimburse anybody who suffers for even a second to try to make you happy. I feel obligated to say an If you ever stop being so nice-esque sentence. But thinking clearly about it, you will never change. You always fight for the right to pursue happiness. If you had a quarter for every second you thought life was great, you'd give it all away to the homeless and ride off their happiness too. Jack. Hannah and I were talking last night. Well, not last night, but when I wrote this last night, saying that you were someone we would miss, because you seem to see things in ways we don't see, such as beauty and ugliness, such as heroicness and villainy, such as fun in writing essays. I don't think I've seen sadness emerge from you, that or anger, or fury, unless it's that of throwing water balloons. You are a lock. You care not of the chain of command, the command of the chain, if you will. You're the amplification of all that I find fun in life. I think going to Walmart at midnight and racing with bicycles sounds like a great idea, but to you that can't exist as nothing more than just an idea. It must turn into an action. Jordan. You are so important to me. Your smile spread across face like a finished line is something I look forward to seeing. Any second I am blessed with hearing your laugh is another one I'm glad to be alive. I don't understand why you censor your joy. It's always what makes you yourself. I'm overjoyed that, by some astronomical phenomenon, our timelines may have crossed. Any percentage difference and we would be way out of our time. Thank you for existing. Thank you everyone and anyone. To another year, my friends. Catch you later.